Hello, my name is Sam Basher.
I am DJ Wooldridge.
And we're going to review Happy Death Day to You, the best movie of this week of 2019. What an honor.
Yeah.
Okay, gang, we're going to hop into the biggest stories of the week, and the biggest one for us was...
Happy Death Day 2.
We went and saw it. It was a great screening, so shout out to Universal and Blumhouse for inviting us. That was fun. We got some nibbles, some snacks, and it was red carpet for the film. And actually, the film was introduced by Jason Blum, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and he was wearing a nice red suit, and the whole beautiful cast was there. Mm-hmm. I saw pictures of the red carpet after, even though I was there, and I was like, wow, that's a good-looking group of people.
Oh, yeah. So we got to see this. This is the sequel to Happy Death Day, and it's, this sequel is directed and written by Christopher Landon, based on characters created by Scott Lobdell, who wrote the first film, who, since we talk about comics, he currently writes over at DC.
Yes.
But the actors that you mentioned, the pretty ones, we have Jessica Rothe, Israel Broussard, Phi Vu, Suraj Sharma, and Sarah Yarkin. And here's a quick synopsis for this sequel. Gelbman discovers that dying over and over was surprisingly easier than the dangers that lie ahead. That's a great way to keep this vague. By the way, the trailer for this movie does a good job hiding what this story is. The trailer does not, it implies one thing, and it is very much not about what I thought it was going to be.
So this review is going to be spoiler free, and then we might touch on light spoilers later, but we'll let you know.
It's coming out, like if you're watching a live stream, it's coming out in a couple hours, and if you watch this on YouTube, it's out already.
So I'm going to really quick, I just want to get this off my chest. The character, I watched the first movie the night before, and the lead character, his name is Tree.
Yeah.
And nobody takes a second to point out, wait, your name is Tree?
Oh, you're telling me you don't know one person with the name Teresa?
That's not the same as Tree. Wait, do you know somebody named Teresa and they go by Tree?
No, I just went really quick and made Teresa try to sound like Tree.
I mean, I guess I could believe that like Teresa. Somebody's name is Teresa and they'll go by Tree. No, that's insane. Nobody makes a joke about it. Nobody treats it like it's weird.
You know, it's also weird. Somebody with the name Peter Parker. You're telling me you have an alliteration in your name? Not for me.
No way, no how.
Not happening in my world.
Sam,
Teresa, thank you everyone for the support in the chat.
So, Sam, you were a big proponent of the first one prior to this one.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm a full-time supporter.
Yeah.
Granted.
I would like to point out.
I've seen it one time.
So I watched it. By the way, it's the original's $1 on Amazon Prime as of this recording.
One American dollar.
To rent, not to buy. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to rent it. Are you kidding me? So I rented it. And I texted Sam. I was like, wait on, what's going on here? And Sam was like, oh yeah, I don't remember. And I was like, you won't shut up about this movie. What are you talking about? You don't remember.
It's great.
Yeah.
I remember all the important parts
which
are important. Murders. I don't want to spoil the movie for people. They're going to go see it. But yes, this movie is being released on February 13th.
Yes.
So if you're watching live, that's
just
today.
In time for Valentine's Day. Yeah, classic.
And currently on Rotten Tomatoes, we have a little asset for the score, but currently from all critics, it's 64% as of recording.
Yeah.
And the average score, which usually you've told me, and it's a fun way to look at this, the average score is kind of more of a true rating from the critics. 5.8 out of 10. Personally, I feel like that might be slightly harsh, but not too harsh. I feel like it's not like far off, but maybe a little low.
Yeah.
No, the first film, this movie I find to not be taking itself seriously in any way whatsoever. So I can't really be mad at the movie for being dumb because it knows it's dumb.
Yeah.
And it had an idea for a premise and it tries to do it to the best of its ability. When it can't work anymore, it says, let's keep going. And I'm like, okay, me too.
Yeah.
There were points in this sequel where we'd look at each other and they're saying some sciencey garbage and we'd be like, and I just give you a thumbs up. It's like,
we're just muscling through. So basically, the original is Groundhog Day, Bill Murray's Groundhog Day. But what if Scream?
Yeah, great pitch.
Yeah, and it just kind of runs with that. And then this one, I feel like I can say pretends to explain the first one. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, if you think about it. It really doesn't explain much.
In a sciencey way, it tries to.
Yeah, and I'm like, if sciencey by me, you mean like the Flash TV show sciencey.
Yeah,
sure.
So what do? You slap the word quantum on it.
Yeah, and then everybody's like, nobody's going to know what this means. And then we're going to run with it. But here's the thing. In these reviews, we like to stay positive and keep things spoiler-free. I'd like to dive into one of my positives. Easy one. Jessica Rothe, the lead actress who plays Tree, these movies wouldn't work without her.
Yes.
She's got such a range of being able to pull off the few times these movies are like, wait, let's try and be dramatic for a second. If those scenes work at all, it's because of her. Her slapstick energy that she brings to it is hilarious and amazing. The whole movie clicks because of her.
Yeah.
So yeah, if this is just an excuse for the director to keep working with this actress and put her in increasingly strange situations, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and if she seems 100% down for everything happening in these movies. But quick overall thoughts for me, because I want to get into my positives as well. And definitely Jessica is a positive for me. These movies, like I said, they're very self-aware, and this movie decides to try to switch up the genre that it's playing around in. And that was how it was explained to us, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. And the way that they chose to go about it, I'm all for. It's a trend right now to do the whole quantum sciences, time traveling, manipulation, and whatever.
Specifically the time loop, reliving the day. It's interesting that that's having like a moment right now.
Hey, I'm so for it.
The first movie, I didn't realize this. The first movie came out the same year as two other movies with the same stuck in the same day.
What's the other one?
Premise. One of them was one of those like Before I Fall or whatever. With Chloe Moretz. Yeah, and then the other one, I don't remember what the other one was, but it was the same like, hey, I'm stuck on a day, but oh no.
I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah.
We will get burnt out with this story.
Apparently Russian Doll is on Netflix, same thing, but apparently Russian Doll's amazing. I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Very excited. But with the sequel, I was glad that not only did we get to hang out more with these characters, but also get to explore their different relationships. But it really comes back to Tree's character. We'll call her Jessica. With Jessica's character, because she sells these scenes, it actually gave me I got caught up in my feelings for a second during some certain scenes, because when you get into these time loop storylines, people are faced with impossible decisions about when it comes to like, how do you want to change who you are as a person, or different opportunities you might have. And the way that this movie is able to explore it in an hour and 20 minutes, and in also trying to like shove in this like serial killer storyline as well as the sci-fi stuff. I feel like the movie is able to balance enough of that and also poke fun of itself at the same time. So if we keep making movies that are like good horror movies, like you have like your Get Outs and whatnot, that are like, that takes itself seriously, tells a really important story that's culturally significant, and you can also have a studio making movies that are like, hey, what if we have just a really fun idea that's not just a slasher movie? There's another element that the character has to fight against. I'm all for it.
And let's say it's barely a slasher movie.
This one is.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, even the first one, there was almost like zero tension for the majority of it. So if you're, we were talking to somebody after the movie that apparently horror movies are a no-go for them. You'll be fine. Yeah. You'll be totally fine. This is just a fun, campy, little adventure. It is a good date movie. Smart of them for putting it out on Valentine's Day. If I can think of a lot worse ways to spend a Valentine's Day in a theater than this movie. This is a lot of fun.
I'd say the emotional core is another positive for me. You mentioned it, that it's Jessica who's selling it, but I actually thought they did a good job. In the first movie, you explore Tree and her father's relationship, and there's a, keeping it spoiler free, something about her, like that relationship changes in this movie, and I like the way that we're able to explore it. And also Bear McCreary does the score for this movie, and he is a phenomenal composer. He does the Walking Dead theme and all of that music, and he did 10 Cloverfield Lane. He's done the Battlestar Galactica reboot. Like he's got a lot under his belt. So seeing him get to like work with this movie, it made the scenes so much better, having that music and the emotional core.
Kind positive for this movie is I like how it utilizes the supporting cast of the original movie, like a character, Phi Vu's character, who's kind of like the nerdy guy. He was barely in the last movie. He was like a one joke. He had one joke.
He had a scene that repeated a bunch.
So the idea, if we're going back to this, because I had a moment, I literally watched the original movie the night before, and I was watching it. I had a moment of like, don't do this to me. Don't trap me in the same situation again. But introducing characters like that, fleshing out the world around them, I thought really benefited this movie and made it more fun.
Oh, 100%.
By the way, this picture that's thrown up, it's funny because this shirt was edited in the picture. It's FML in the movie. Yeah. And I don't know why you felt, it's a PG-13 movie. Why you don't, it's just the letters. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know.
And I like how kind of going back for just a second, just thinking of that scene, I like how they utilize Tree as much as possible. Like the way that they show that she's not like overly capable at doing something, but the challenges that she faces, she acts like a normal human being in all of them. And I got to say, the humor in this movie is pretty top notch as well. I like the utilization of the supporting cast, but also I like like her slapstick humor that you mentioned, but also that comes back to the writing. And I thought Christopher Landon, the director and writer, did a good job just like really trying to flesh out as much as he could with this character and what she's capable of. But these movies aren't perfect.
Yeah, I will say, I think our negative might be pretty similar. It really is nonsense. It really, like, if you spend 2 seconds trying to figure out, like, the explanations for things sound fine, and then it's like almost instantly like, but wait, that doesn't actually explain anything.
Yeah.
And like the last movie, the central mystery of like who's doing it is like, this one has an even crazier reveal. Like they have the reveal, here's another one. You're like, wait, what? What's happening? What's going on?
Because in the first movie, you're kind of like, it's similar to Groundhog Day, where it's like, you don't need to know why this is happening. It just is. And so we're going to live in this scenario. In this one, we try to explain it, but then we don't.
No.
That's mainly the thing. It tries to go science-y, like we mentioned, except for all it does is add up more craziness. And you're like, should I think about this? Answer's no.
No, it is. She even has a scene where she's like, "Man, I thought there was some special cosmic reason that this was happening for me to deal with the loss of my mom, but now there's this science explanation." But it doesn't. It doesn't explain why you're looping. Also, a murderer on the same day. It actually doesn't explain anything. And you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're looking for a fun date night movie. If you're looking for a sequel that shakes things up, and when we say change genre, what we really mean is change the movie it's ripping off. Yeah, essentially. And yes, they do name check that movie in this one like they did in the last one. So they're having fun.
Do it earlier on in the movie.
Significantly early on. Plus, for the first one, is saving that reference till literally the very end of the movie. But if you're just looking for a fun date night movie, this is a good one.
Oh, for sure. This is you in the chat says, sometimes it's good not to explain anything. Usually not, but these movies are very enjoyable for me. And if you're able to kind of just, I don't know if people are going into this expecting something more serious when you have the name Happy Death Day
to you.
I feel like you already missed it, so that might not be for you. But if you're willing to just kind of check those feelings for a second, and I don't want to say turn your brain off because that's been overused. I just say just check those feelings at the door and just try to have a good time because this movie is very enjoyable.
Also, while you're checking those at the door, you might want to check the better movies that they rip off at the door too. Just let those movies will still be there when you get back.
Oh yeah. This doesn't affect them in any way.
Nope.
And also, there was a tease before we started the movie when it was introduced to like, hey, we kind of want to make a third, and it would change genres again.
Wink, 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 wink.
And there's a kind of a tease of that at the end.
Yeah, so
kind of.
we try to let you guys know if there is an after credit scene, and it's a mid credit scene. It's not an after credit scene, but there is a mid credit scene, and I do recommend sticking around for it because it is delightful.
It's delightful. Yeah. Also, it does almost explain a little different plot hole in the movie that doesn't quite make sense. But hey, we're getting too far into it. We like to rate these movies, and the number I picked was 18 because on Monday the 18th was the day that she repeated over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
I forgot how many times she did. I think they said it one time.
They did say, I never read a review that said how many it was.
There you go.
Yeah.
What a nightmare. Yeah. But out of 18, what would you rate this movie?
13? What's a B minus?
Let's
13?
go with... No, it's a little too low. I'd say like
14?
a 15, 14.
Let's say 14.
There you go.
We'll give it a 14.
I'd give it a 15.5. Okay. Not like a full 16 because I feel like you're in the A tier. It's not that. It's like a solid like B movie. It's a B movie and it's letter grade B. Everything about it is B, and I can't love it more. I wish I could love it more. Like, if I could put a quote on the box, I would just say it's like, don't be dumb. Just watch the movie.
Or be dumb.
Be dumb. Hey, it's dumb. You're dumb. I'm dumb. Let's have a dumb time. Whatever.
There it is.
We'll let you guys let us know in the comments down below what kind of quote you'd put on the box because that's always fun to think about. How would you be remembered with this movie? If you do make the third one, my email's on my Twitter. I would love. If you want to just throw me in a wood chipper or something, I'd have a good time. There's a lot of creative deaths in this movie that are pretty fun. And clearly, Christopher Landon's like, so in the first one, it's like slashers getting you with a bat or a knife or a gun or something, whatever, what have you. And in this, it's like, how crazy can we get? And I like that we get at least a little sequence of that.
Yep. 100%.
Really quick, you want to do a little bit of spoilers? Light spoilers?
Let's do light spoilers. So wait, what do they say in the trailer? What do they imply happens in the trailer?
In the trailer, they imply that everyone gets stuck in the loop.
Yes,
and
that is not what happens.
That is not.
Another character does get stuck in the loop for a minute. There's a lot of buildup in this movie, and then Tree gets stuck back in the same loop, except
in another universe.
Yeah, it's a different reality. So
parallel timeline.
Parallel timeline.
They started explaining it with dumb sci-fi terms, and that's when we looked at each other. It's like,
we've seen an episode of The Flash. Yeah. We know a thing or two about this.
Time remnants.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Oh my god!
I was expecting something kind of happened in the movie for a second.
It did. And that doesn't get explained.
No, it doesn't
at all.
No, it gets written off near the end. You're like, okay,
yeah,
don't overthink it.
Sure. Anyway, so this is Back to the Future too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But it's the emotional core when it comes to.
There's even a sound cue to Back to the Future.
Amazing.
Anyway, yeah.
But when it comes to Tree dealing with what's happening with her parents, I find those scenes very endearing, and seeing the kind of sacrifices that she's able to make.
Yeah,
it's great. The slasher part of this doesn't matter at all.
No.
There's a couple different scenarios where like, who could it be? It's like, don't matter. Yeah. Not even a little bit.
No.
But the post-credit scene is definitely worth it. And if that's anything to do with the third movie, oh man.
I'm into it.
I'm into it too.
I'll check it out.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Like Men in Black? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it means. But let us know when you guys see it, because this movie, I think you're going to have a good time. And if you've seen the first one, let us know what your thoughts on that film are in the comments down below.
Also, how weird is it that her name is Tree? Please back me up on this one. Please.
That is true.